Hello everyone, and welcome back to my course, Defining Consciousness. And this evening we're going to speak about the power of friendship. It's always an interesting topic for me to discuss because there's so much that have been said about relationship, right? Romantic relationship or regular relationship, and many books have been written about it in different classes. And it always seems that we confusing ourselves between relationship and friendship. And this class, I wanted to go over the definition of both and to understand really what is a true relationship or what is true friendship, and how is friendship can really support us in our spiritual work. What is the role of true friendship in our life, especially with our connection to the light within us and the light of the Creator. And really we'll see that between relationship and friendship, it's kind of the two realities that exist. And let's start by even asking ourselves, what is a friend? Who do we call a friend? Who do we give this job or position to be a friend in my life? Who are those people that surrounding us, that remain or being part of this category in our life that we call them friends, right? So when we say, I have many friends, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, I have a lot of friends that I've actually went out with, some of them last night. But if I went out with some people last night and I call them friend, how many of them are real or true friends? How do we count them? Is it only those people that we hang out with, or people who care about us or care for us? In every period of time in our life, we have certain amount of friends. Like if we have the friends from the kindergarten, and friends from school, and friends from high school and university, and if you go to the army, so you have friends from the army. So every period of time we have different friends. Friend from work, we even have them categorized. Friend from work, friend from the neighborhood, friend from the army, a friend from university back then. Some of them, when we think about them, we see that, we don't really have connection with them. And others, when we think about those friends and they coming into our thought, we say, oh, maybe, that some of the friendship remain with us, even if it started like really back in first grade. So what is really a friend, and what is a real or true friend? And when people say, about dogs that they're best man friend, what does it mean? What does it really mean? In fact, we have so many friends that of position, friend that part of our movie. But the question is, are there really friends that are part of our soul? And when there is a misunderstanding, it really, between us, right? Between us two friends, it creates like so many disappointment in our life. And if we'll look up about the major disappointments that we have in our life, is connecting all to people, and to people we trusted and people we call them friend, and we say, oh, look how he behaved with me, look how he acted with me. And it comes with a lot of belief systems about what is real in our life and what is not real. And can we really trust those people, or can we count on those people? Or we may have a belief system that says, there's nothing, such a thing like friends. It's nothing like that. So we have been created certain belief system around people and our relationship with them. And it's really confusing, and it's not really easy even to use the word friend, And sometimes when we call someone as a friend, we just said it like and mention it like in such an easy way. And there's a deep gap, okay, between our definition to a friend and what is a real friend. And there is a sentence that it's called "Aseh lecha rav ukne lecha chaver," which means make yourself make yourself master and buy yourself a friend. And we will really go in deep in understanding about that particular sentence. But the main thing that we can see about this, it's like we talk about the master, Rav, and we'll discuss the definition of Rav, and we talk about Chaver in Hebrew, it's friend. So we see that already that according to the Kabbalah, the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's teaching us a way that an understanding about our spiritual way actually, that it's depend on two things. It's depend on the teacher, which is Rav or master, and it's depend on our friend. Can you imagine that our spiritual work depend on people? And it's interesting concept. So the spiritual way, or our spiritual way, it's based on that sentence of Aseh lecha Rav and vekne lecha chaver, make yourself a master and buy yourself a friend. So now, the first thing that we wanted to understand before we really go deep in explaining this particular sentence, that we know that what we see right now basically is that relationship is only one level, okay, one level, and above that level, or much higher level, comes friendship. So today we want to go above the level of just remaining in our relationship. We want to go into the higher level of understanding and attracting to us true friendship, and we will define it shortly. So we know that relationship is challenging. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but there is a challenge, and we also know that our correction or our tikkun reveal itself through relationship with people, right? So our communication and whether we decide that if today whether the communication and the relationship we have with the other person, and we wanted to really understand about it even more. We have relationship with our boss, we have relationship with our dentist, we have relationship with the person in the grocery store. All of this is type of relationship, because there is an exchange of energy. There is an exchange of energy. Also relationship, obviously, with your partner, your wife, the husband, your parents. The question is, all of this, is this friendship though? You can go out with your dentist. Is it friendship? Is it called friendship? You can invest 35 years in relationship with your spouse. Is this friendship? It's definitely relationship. So what we want to ask here in this class is, what does it take from us to alter, to transfer relationship into friendship? Okay, what does it take from us? Relationship, it's just some sort of, it seems like it, that it's need in life. It's like just things that just happen. There's a relationship. This is why we're together, right? We together, and we learn a lot in our classes about the tikkun that revealed itself through relationships. So it's something maybe that we just need to have and to move on, right? Friendship, as much as we will learn this evening, is the base of spirituality. What makes relationship a relationship? Is it love? Is it understanding? Is it sharing and giving? Is it commitment that makes it relationship? Maybe yes, maybe no. Because all of this that I've mentioned right now we have it in a relationship, and we also have it in friendship, but not necessarily this is the condition to be in a friendship situation. Because you can love your dentist, you can really love your dentist, and you can really feel committed to your dentist because you may be going to your dentist for years, and all your family is going there, and you sharing with him about your life. Maybe in the holiday you actually maybe sending him a card or a gift. But what we understand here, that Kabbalah is about to teach us that there's something much, much deeper about friendship, and this is what we want to learn. So for that, I wanted to go ahead and read with you guys from the portion of Truma, which is verse 39. And we're gonna show you this on the screen. And basically what it says here that when the Creator wants to, the light of the Creator wants to dwell in our life, right? We are as the vessel, the light of the Creator is pouring His light into us, and it's coming in a form of blessing, of manifestation of our desires. This is what it means when the light is dwelling. So when we experience that the light is dwelling, or when the light actually wants to dwell in another vessel, to pour His light and blessing into a vessel, what it says here, כי הקדוש ברוך הוא רוצה בו ושם משכנו בתוכו, וכשאנו רואים שרצון האדם הוא לרדוף ולהשתדל אחר הקדוש ברוך הוא. When we see the Creator, when He sees that the desire of the person is so big and he makes so much effort to connect with the light of the Creator, and he runs for actions and raising his consciousness to be so much part of the Creator, therefore the Creator, the light of the Creator dwell within him. And what does it mean? And how it's referred to friendship. Why did I bring this sentence? Because when we see that particular person who has so much desire to connect with the light of within him and the light of the Creator and to fulfill his dreams and everything, it says here, and then we should buy that person with full money. Interesting. It says here that the fact that if a person wants to have a friend, he needs to buy him with a full price and pay a full price with no even arguing, and to buy this friend in any form and any way that the friend is even asking for every payment that he wants, we need to pay for him. And we need to run after the friend, it says here, that you want to buy, till he will agree to receive the payment. Isn't it weird that it's mentioned this in the Zohar? Isn't it like the opposite of what we think about friendship, that it's nothing got to do with money? And it's even mentioned that we need to even find a way to even seduce him even a little bit, so I can pay you and you will be my friend. It's very interesting that this is what the Zohar is saying, but we can learn from it so much, and we obviously will elaborate on that as well, because it gives us the formula how we can connect with another human being in a level of friendship. But before we want to get into this, I want to give you a little bit of a workshop for everyone that is joining us right now. If you can take like a piece of paper and just write down a list of, let's say, 7 people that you consider them to be your friend. So go ahead, write down 7 names. So as you write down, I will continue with the workshop. So now you look on this list of people that you consider them to be your friend. So we said like we're choosing 7. And let's imagine that you've been asked to go into a space that allows you a capacity of you and 6 more people, which means total 7. So you need to take 1 person out of that list. Who it will be? Look again at the list, and there is another instruction, and you've been asked to take another person out of that space, which means it's you with 5 more people in the room, in that space. Who is the second person you're taking out of your list? And now you've been asked to take another person out of your list because it's only you and 4 more people. Who is the third person you're going to take out of that list? You've been asked again to take 1 more person out of that list. And now it's you and 3 more people. Who is left? Now the space is getting smaller and you're being asked to take one more person. And you're left with 2 more friends. And the space is getting a little bit tighter and you're being asked to take another more person out of the list. So now you're left with 1 person with you in that space. Who is that person that left in your list? Keep that for now and we'll talk about it at the end of the session. Put it on the side. So there are few levels of relationship. If we look at this, the first level, and we see it in the second slide, the first level, it's called being. What does it mean, being? Is we all sit maybe in the same room, maybe 2 people sitting next to each other, you haven't met each other before, you say to each other, oh, hi. You know, when I asked from you to take people out of your list and, you know, just see, and as I'm going through the levels of the 4 levels of relationship, see which person relates to which level. But anyway, it's like in the level of being, it's a very basic level of relationship, okay? Then we go to the next level and it's meet or not meet. This level refers to a relationship that there's some sort of an interaction. You meet with a person, you want really to know him better. You ask each other questions. Where are you from? Where are you from? What are you doing? Maybe you park your car in a garage and you see the guard in the garage and you keep seeing him if you come into the same parking space and you start to interact with him and having a conversation. Who are you? How are you doing today? And every day you developing more and more of the conversation, which means it's kind of like it's in a process, okay? So this is meet or not meet. The third level is the level that we call connection. And this is a level when I think I'm gonna push some buttons here as I'm talking about this level, because it talks about different types of communication. There is an intimate communication and there is marriage, right? So there is commitment and there is responsibility in this level. For example, a parent that has responsibility and commitment to his child, or maybe a relationship between a boss, a manager to his employee, or a relationship in a community relationship. Therefore, there is a common goal and there is a common responsibility and commitment, and we need to be also friendly a little bit, right? So this is level 3. Level 4 of the relationship, it's called friendship, and this is the level that we actually want to understand, and we getting to understand that few of us, when we get involved in communication with other people, we can maybe be intimate with people, we can be married to them, but not necessarily we are friends, okay? So in friendship, this is the level of the highest interaction that exists. Rabbi Isaac Luria wrote that a man in his life, he really has a merit if he will find one person that will be a true friend. One person. And you know, there is a story that Karen used to share with us previously, and I wanted to read the story for you. It's also mentioned in the Rav's Nano book, and it talks about a king who ruled his kingdom with iron fist. And one day a man by the name Nathaniel was caught stealing an apple. Nathaniel was not really a bad person. It wasn't his nature to steal from anyone, but after living among so many villains for so many years, he simply gave in to his selfish instinct on this one particular occasion, and unfortunately it was a bad time to make his mistake. Why? Because the king has decided to make an example of this poor Nathaniel, to send a message to the rest of the people. Nathanael was given a sentence by death by the king, and he accepted his fate without any fuss. After all, he had no blame, he had no one to blame but himself. And the king asked Nathanael if he had any last request. And he did. Nathanael asked if he could have 3 days to settle various affairs in his life. He had to pay some debts, he owed some money, some favor, a few personal favors to people, and he wanted really to say goodbye to his loved one, and he figured that it will take him about 3 days. The king, that was very impressed by Nathanael's simple acceptance of his fate and by his sense of responsibility, wanted to accommodate his last request. But there was an obvious problem. If I grant you this temporary reprieve, the king says, I have no assurances that you will ever return to fulfill your sentence. Nathanael understood the king's dilemma, and he said, I have an idea. Suppose I arrange for a good friend to stand from me until I return. If I am late, you can execute my friend in my place. The king was laughing. If you can find someone who will take your place, I will grant your 3 days, but if you're even 1 minute late, you can be sure your friend will be hanged immediately. So Nathanael asked his best friend, a shoekeeper by the name of Simon, to stand in his place. And Simon had known Nathanael since they were young kids, and he loved him like a brother. And he said to him, I will be honored to go into temporary custody instead of you. So Simon was handcuffed and detained while Nathanael hurried to take care of his affair. And remember, the king yelled to him, he says, 1 minute late and I will hang your best friend. 1 day passed, then 2 more, and Nathanael didn't return. The king orders Simon to come to the place where the hangman nose was like slipped around Simon's neck. He was ready to kill him, and he tightened his robe around his neck. And then suddenly a voice heard screaming far from the distance, Stop, stop, I have returned. It was Nathanael. Please, I beg you. Nathanael cried to the king, remove the noose from my best friend, remove the robe from my best friend. This is my fate, it's not his. But the king replied, you are 1 hour late. Nathanael was so out of breath, he could hardly talk. Let me explain, your majesty. My horse became lame and I was forced to run all the way back. That is why I was late. It is I who should die, not my dear friend. Simon then began to cry out. The hangman removed the hood of his head, and that it's not true. I'm the one that should die today. We had an agreement. Besides, I could not stand here and watch you, my best friend, die before my eyes. Nor could I bear living without you. You were late, so it will be I who will die today. Nathanael's eyes welled up with tears. I beg you, your majesty, do not listen to him. Do not let my best friend die. It is I who was originally sentenced to death, not Simon. If you kill him, I will not be able to live with the pain of seeing my best friend depart from this earth. I beg you to take me. Simon and Nathanael continued arguing back and forth about who should die today. Not surprisingly, the king was taken back. In a land of like all these villains that live in his kingdom, the king was not accustomed to seeing such acts of unconditional friendship. Nevertheless, a decision had to be made. So the king might be a strict ruler, but he was a fair ruler, and justice had to be met out according to the law of the land. I have reached the final verdict, the king said. Today, neither of you shall die, for I realize that no matter which one of you dies today, I will still kill 2 men. The original sentence called for only one person to die. Thus I'm forced to set you both free. Hearing this story actually from Karen and listen, and Karen, I remember Karen used to always say that a good friend is someone that will take a bullet for you. And when I said, I went hang out with some friends last night, it's interesting. Should we ask ourselves which one of them will take a bullet for us? We need to understand the moral of the story, or the meaning of the story. When the king said, I will kill one of you, and in fact, if I'll kill one of you, I will kill 2 souls, and I will never be able to allow an innocent person to die. It's like when we reach in a place in our life that I'm so connected to another human being, it's the judgment that we're on the person is being removed. Imagine that, like Rav Berg in his book Nano is talking about the concept of friendship is not about moral or intellectual. It talks about friendship is that I'm so close to the other person that the space between 2 people that exist, like, we always talk about space and time, etc., but the experience of friendship, according to the Rav, which means there is no space between 2 people, which means there is no space in the soul level, in the mental level, in the conscious level. So we see that if we look at it, like if we can look at the other slide, there's something I've prepared from you from the Ari. And the Ari is saying about that before a person, it's in Shara Kavanot, before a person will set up his pray, and it's in the pray in the morning actually, it says that before you go in and do any spiritual work, any connection of a form of maybe meditation or some sort of a prayer, the Ari said that you need to connect. Each one of the people that are doing the spiritual work need to see themselves as if they are one of the organs of their friends. It's like, ובפרט אם יש לאדם ידיעה והשגה לדעת ולהכיר לחברו בבחינת הנשמה. And especially, each person needs to include himself and understand that if a friend is in trouble or if there is in pain, you need to feel the pain as if it's happened to you. It's really understanding that when we talk about love of friendship, it's really talking about removing space from any form of spiritual, mental, and consciousness between us to another person. The Rav in Nano talks about the atoms, that they're tied together. So when we see, for example, a broken table or something that wore off, in our eyes we decide that it's old and it wore off and it's broken. But in essence, the Rav said, the atoms are vibrant and still alive inside and still tight. This is how we view it. So when we talk about friendship, when we talk about tightness and we talk about connection, and it's a removal of space, it's not just removal of space between 2 people, it's really about removing space from my life. So we can see it in the other slide. It's the friendship is a tool to remove space from our life. And when we talk about space, right, why we want to remove space, just for us to understand why we want to remove this space. Because space is disease, it lacks, is judgment, is negativity, is some sort of any of limitation of the matter. And when we say we wanted to remove that space, we wanted to remove all of the lack, all of the judgment, all of the health situation. We want to remove all the limitation. And we really understand that friendship is a tool to remove space from our life, because we act and we behave according to the universe law, right? With the light of the Creator, that we, as atoms, we are connected to one another. So according to Kabbalah, the spiritual work depends on 2 people, right? Remember we said that? עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר. Make yourself a master and buy yourself a friend. So in order for me to grow and in order for me to rise above and to change, I need to choose, it seems like it, two people in my life, a teacher and a friend. So how can you choose a teacher? What do you need to do for this, to choose a teacher? So we heard it already once, that when you're ready, when you have the desire, the teacher is a peer. And the Zohar says that you need to choose your teacher. How can you choose a teacher? When you see one, as it says here in what we read earlier in the Zohar, that we need to choose the teacher that has the knowledge and he's running with such a dvekut, with so much desire to connect with the light of the Creator. And a teacher that if he's already come and becoming our teacher in different areas in our life, we are not judging the way he is like passing the lesson to us, right? Because somehow in our mind is like a spiritual teacher is someone that you need to have above you, for example. And sometimes we judging those people coming into our life all the time. But the concept is that you have a teacher, which means I'm locking myself in this particular reality that I'm following the direction, whether is a spiritual teacher, whether is a business mentor, whether is your wife, whether is a husband that considered to be someone that you look up to and you learn from. The second part, or this other person that we need, is to buy as a friend. So again, what do you mean to buy? We're gonna go deep into that right now. So which means when you buy something, right? When you buy something, which means you have to have for yourself something that you can offer. Okay, so if you want to buy an item or you want to buy a friend, there is an exchange of energy. So what is the energy that you have that you wanted to offer? So first of all, you need to have something to offer, right? The second part of the purchase of this buy, that you're willing to invest in that item or in that thing. So let's say you're going to the market and you wanted to buy, let's say fish, let's say salmon, and it costs $20. And you ask yourself, is it worth it for me to spend now $20 on dinner? Yes, no. And then few of the people that you met, you ask yourself, is it worth it for me to invest in them or not? Sometimes this is what we do when we buying, right? So what does it mean on the third part of the purchase is that you're willing to let go of something in order to buy. So you're willing to let go of the money in order to buy. You're willing to give up maybe your time in order to be with someone. Mainly what we wanted to understand, what is that we wanted to give away or to let go, is to let go of the me when we're in a relationship. So when we're talking about friendship that relate to purchasing, we need to ask ourselves a question. If we really want to have a true relationship, true friendship, what does it take from you? What will it take from you to buy something that you believe is so valuable for you? How much you're willing to do for him? How much money or how much you're willing to pay for him? How much you want to work hard for him? How much you want to risk yourself for that person? So the most important place we wanted to reach is to understand that what is that I'm willing to give up or to let go. And let's open it to few points. Let's elaborate that into few points. So the first point when we talk about buying, it says kne lecha chaver. Kne, it's in a present, and it says now, you buy now. It's not like you bought or you will buy. It's you need to buy now, which means it's a constant choice of being in a friendship. It's a constant choice of a process of purchasing. Purchasing, it's an ongoing, it's never ending. What does it mean? It's not something I'm paying once and I'm getting this item and it's mine forever, but it's a continuational process, which means You always are involved in a process of purchasing. And every 3 minutes, every 1 minute, every hour, every day, you choose to buy. Every year, every month, you choose to buy, which means you choose to buy is what is I'm willing to give? What is the effort I'm putting in this friendship? What is that I'm willing to let go and give away of me while I'm in this relationship? Maybe I know this person since I was in the 3rd grade and 40 years passed by, but for 40 years, if I want to call that person a friend, it's a continuational process of earning that friendship in my consciousness, in my mind, in the way I behave. It's never a result of a one-time buy. Purchase. So it's never enough that you gave me what I gave you. It's never enough. So the question that we always want to ask is, what is that I'm giving this friend of mine today? What have I done to earn this friendship? Okay? And it says here in the Zohar, "V'chaver nikna b'ksha'ei ksha'im," which means even if it's difficult, ksha'im, it's difficulty, even if it's difficult for you, if it's uncomfortable situation for you, you still need to ask yourself, what is that I can do to earn this friendship? The second point about the purchasing, and that relationship, since we know that it's challenges, but we would like to have the challenge of studying and things that I want to work on. According to the challenge, or based on the challenge, we often fall into the idea or the concept that, oh, my friend will love me exactly the way I am, and he doesn't care if I'll do this or that. But this is the concept that normally we have, because people who loves you see your potential, and people that really loves you believe within you and know for sure that you have so much more to impact, to do, to achieve. So those who will consider you as friend will always want you to be the best version of yourself. So it's not say that your friend would not love you the way you are, but his motivation towards you, his motivation is like to see you how well and how more can you be or can you achieve. Okay? So relationship, when we talk about a challenge, it's constantly growing. It's constantly growing. There are so much friends, so much committed to each other, that you will reach your best version of yourself. Okay? And that will even inspire you to reach that place. And the third point is actually chibur, which is chaver. Chaver in Hebrew is a connection, is chibur, is lechaber, which means it's a connection and communication of body and soul. What does it mean? So the Ari says that you're going to accept or have your friends and think about your friend with all your prayers and your needs, which means with every connections that you do with the Creator, you actually ask for yourself that you will be able to have as a vessel, create a vessel to attract to yourself this type of friendship. Immediately when you want something for yourself, the Creator or the Ari is sharing, ask it first for your friend. Especially in this portion of this week in Be'alutcha, it talks about El Na Refa Nala, this 11 word sequences that talks about, as we all familiar with the power of healing. And it mentioned that there are 2 na, El Na, Refa Nala. So there are few interpretations for this lesson, but especially in this relationship to friends, we know that when you pray for your friends, your personal prayers being fulfilled first. So the power of unity creates healing. And there is a wonderful phrase, verse in the Zohar, in the portion of Ki Tisa, in verse 54, and you can see it in the PowerPoint. And it says here there about the 10 people, the 10 students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the love that they had for one another was so unique in a way that they loved each other so dearly from all sides. They were connected to one another in a soul level, like the atoms. They were inseparable in such a relationship. Because of this unity that they had, the Zohar could have been revealed in this life, in our lifetime, just due to the love of the friends, of these 10 people, the student of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Idra. They were so connected that the light of the Zohar and the light of the wisdom of Kabbalah could have been revealed to humanity. So when you count on people, when you count on your friends actually, and you're willing to let go all of your fears, all your agendas, all of your calculations, right? You let go of that and you go back into the unity, the atom that are inseparable, no matter what the reality will present. And the fourth point when we talk about friendship is that Ari says, "Kshe'acher tamid yeh lefanecha," which means the other will be always in front of you. What does it mean? What does it mean? So the Ari explained, like when you have a scratch on the body, all the organs, everything comes together, connects together to heal and to support the scratch. So this is what it means when your friends needs to be before you. And the fifth point that I wanted to mention about friendship is true friendship always will influence and support us to build and heal all of other relationships that we have in our life. So if I'm right now in a relationship that is a friendship, which means it's really there to support and heal all my other relationship, because every challenge, every effort, every value, every lesson that I bring into my friendship, it's like bringing up all those challenges and experiences that I have in my life. But the indication about friendship that exists is that I have a true friendship that exists in my life, is that I will see that my other friendship and my other relationships are getting stronger and stronger by the day. Okay? So now if we go back to the list that we've made at the beginning of the class, and we're talking about, when we talked about the 7 people or the 7 friends that you consider and you've put them in the list, can you look please at your list and see if one of the people in your list is capable to be your friend according to what we have just said? Maybe we took one out of our list, and maybe the real friend is the one that we left with him together in the room. Look into that. Because it's very interesting when we see something, when we see things about the people that are around us, and hopefully that we really have just true friends in our life, because the Rav always said to us, even if you have one true friend in your life, it's a merit. It's a merit that you'll have it, because it's like so important when we get there. Because the thing is that we need to realize is that the Ari said that our commitment is to be friend with everyone. And the meaning is, even if I have mastered one friendship with one person, it still needs to be my nature to desire to work on this, to be friends with everyone, to work on my abilities to create unification. And another thing for us to understand more about friendship is that the Ari said, in order for us really to create friendship, is to have a mutual goal, to understand that there is a reason why we're all together. So the Rav used to say, if the screen would have been lifted, but the screen of the information have been lifted on above our eyes, like to know about each other. We will like really be crazy if we'll know the truth about one another. And the idea is like, because we can see the essence and the secrets of the soul of each person, and we'll see how many great people we have around us. Like, it's so powerful, but instead, unfortunately, we sometimes judge. We go through so much. So the unification in the soul level is that it's so important that we have a connection like this, because it's already exists. We all connected in our soul level. It's not by coincidence that maybe sometimes we go crossing the street and we have someone bump us in our shoulder, which means there is like a soul connection. It's not by coincidence that we live in a neighborhood and this is our neighbors, or working with this particular people. We're all in a high level of a soul connection, but our job in the physical world is to reveal that connection, and to reveal the friendship that already exists in the spiritual level. So therefore, it's very interesting, and the main thing that we need to understand is that all what we have to do, or all what is required from each one of us, is to identify what is that I need to do in order to transform the relationship into friendship. Okay? And what is that I need to change within myself so I can be more of a friend? What is that I need to work on that I will be considered to someone else a true friend? Okay? It's not just to find a friend. It's just what is that I need to do? Because the friendship the connection start with the soul. Okay? So when we talk about chaver again, chaver is chibur. Chibur is the connection with the soul. So if the connection does not exist in the level of the soul, is that, so whatever relationship you've created in the physical level, it cannot be the same. So many times, many people asking us if relationship, like I have a really amazing relationship and I want to get married and I love him and I love him but I love you, but you know, I love you so much, but I will not move to Brazil for you. Which means if the soul has been existed if the connection has been existed in the soul level, does it really matter if I will live with him in Brazil or in Israel or in Los Angeles? So we need to understand that when there's something that is spiritual, there is no connection to the 1%, which means the 1%, it doesn't even matter about our decision, because we have a soul connection. So if we're ready to risk for relationship, therefore there must be a unification of the soul. So what is the first condition in order to create friendship? What is the first condition? The first thing is to go and with understanding, or be with understanding that the beginning, I don't need any friends. I don't need any friend. The first thing that I need to learn is how I can be alone with myself and as the first person that I want to be with, and to love the person that I'm with. So when we say V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and love your neighbor as yourself, so of course we understand that the Kabbalists meant that if kamocha doesn't exist, forget about other people. If you're not unified and connected with your own inner soul, how can you be unified with another person? So how can you create a friendship? As we've mentioned, what's friendship so far? How can you really create a friendship if you're not with harmony with who you are? So therefore, part of the process and the first condition to create a true friendship is to go inside yourself and learn about your essence, and learn about who you are, what are your values, what do you believe in. Can I be with myself? Can I stay with myself? Can I shut the door and just be with myself? and I'm happy with what I see, okay, how do I feel when I'm alone? So we want to understand that the first condition is like, I don't need a friend. I don't need a friend. This is the first step, okay? This is the first step, because I need to learn how to become a friend. So I will have a tolerance, and I will be able to accept and to view that everything that what's maybe I need to change, and to look at myself with my eyes, and to love who I am. To love who I am, and to accept who I am, and to look at my greatness and to appreciate my greatness. So when I'm saying that we need to be friends with myself, is before we are becoming friends with other people, because when this doesn't exist, and when we're going and searching for friends, it's only to really receive validations from other people, and to get their support of other people, or acknowledgement by other people of who we are, and to get feedback from other people. So, wow, you're so amazing, wow, you're so amazing, and wow, right? And it's like slowly communication with people, when we are like this, when we're building it on that base, will not exist. But if we build it in a place where I'm coming from, I love who I am, and I love what I see, and I see my greatness, so we can build a relationship that's coming from really a soul connection. So we really study that in Kabbalah, that this unification that we have between us to ourselves, and between us to the Creator and the universe, is the first condition to create friendship. But there's a much bigger reason for all of this, is to know that you don't need a friend, is you can be alone for the rest of your life. But as long as you don't need, I will repeat that, as long as you need people around you, it will be conditioned. The only way that you can create friendship, and the only reason that you need to create friendship, is to really, first of all, to be with yourself, because any other relationship that you will have will be conditional. So first, let's work on the fact that I don't need a friend. And the unification that we're talking about is much higher than what we have understood so far, because there's a circuitry of friendship. When we choose someone, right, we look at him and we look around and we say, oh, maybe it's you. I want to be your friend. And we share in a common interest, and we feel in connection, and we feel in some sort of chemistry here. We have maybe the same background, maybe. But in the world of spirituality, most of the time, we're not here to choose anyone, because we already soul connected. So this is the second condition to create a friendship, is that we need to understand is like, in the spiritual level, we don't care about how we feel. There are two souls, and they are connected. This is what it is. We are souls, and we are connected. Just to understand that the souls are connected. And the third level, so now you chose a friend. And you started to connect. In this level, you become more creative. You asking themselves, okay, tell me about yourself. I'm getting to interest in one another. We're exploring, we're becoming creative. There's a belief that as long as we know more about the individual, we have more of connection, right? Most people are stuck in this level, because a lot of people, we even using the term opening your heart. So it's not really about opening your heart. Like sometimes when we open our heart, we feel that if we share in what we're going through and what we think, there will be more closeness and there will be more connection, but not necessarily it's happening. Sometimes in order to keep on our relationship, we need to keep on some details, not to share them. It's not to say things, but when we're talking about opening the heart, there's a value connected to it, which means when I open my heart is to really feel the change that the other person is going through. sometimes, people are really stuck in this third level because they open themselves and maybe they don't receive this reaction, the same reaction that they thought they will get from the other person, the support, and they get disappointment. What takes the relationship into the next phase, into the fourth level, is this level that we start to know more about and learn more about each other, and we're reaching a level that a friend, the way we understand, is bringing some sort of a message of change into our life, right? So we're reaching a place that every conversation, every exchange of energy, it's a limud, it's a lesson, and there's a change coming out of it. We want to change out of that lesson. So the reason we open in our heart is not just that I will feel better and to share what I've been going through. It's also that I'm opening my heart so that my friend will enlighten me with information that will bring me into change. And the reason that, for example, I will say, oh, I had a really bad day and I had this thing with my boss and I had this thing with my friend, it's not like to get, oh, I'm so sorry you went through this. It's also to get the feedback that maybe the boss, my boss or my employer was right by behaving like this, and you need to change your behavior, and let's talk about this. So at least from every conversation needs to be a lesson and to learn something out of it so we can transform our life in order to grow. So this is an amazing fourth level that we all want to reach, because we reach and understand it that every conversation, every communication with our friend will take me to my next level, maybe to uncomfortable place, but at least it will bring me into a place where I can change. And now that when we look at relationship with a teacher, for example, so a teacher that we meet with will always ask us to push a little bit of our buttons in order for us to go to our next level. So it's not a teacher will tell me what I need to do, but will be there to reflect the situation and help me to create change in my life and to move forward. So again, chaver, it's a chibur, chaver, which means connection. Friend is a connection to my soul, and which means this friend will, with the connection that we have to my soul, will always support me and help me to know what else can I do in order to change and to transform and to grow. And the fifth stage in relationship is the stage that you choose over and over and over again friendship. This particular friend and that particular friend, you choose him over and over again. If we are not really looking at the reality and says, even though he's pushing my button, even though it's really painful what he just said, I'm choosing to learn something from him. And true relationship and true friendship will happen a lot that I will be felt maybe that I'm criticized, that I've been, maybe my ego is shaken a little bit, my self-esteem is a little bit of shaken, but the choice that I have really is the connection, that understanding that if I will not re-choose again the friend, it will not work. Actually, the Kabbalists are explaining that we have one really free will in our life. Sometimes we think, oh, we have a free will to choose dark versus light, good versus bad. It's my free will that it's been presented to me in my reality, but really we have only one free will. And the only free will that we have is about choosing our environment. And choosing our environment so we will be able to grow in this environment. We will be able to have friends, like we shared right now, that maybe can trigger us, that we can learn from their action, from their behavior. We can learn with our communication. And through that, I'm raising up and I'm growing, and my consciousness is growing, and my level of understanding is growing, and I'm changing accordingly, and I'm reaching my highest potential. When we're talking about soulmate, it's really about, this is the value, it's that I'm growing and changing, and through this friendship, through this unification, it's just strengthening also the relationship that I have with other people. There is a story in Wisdom of Truth that Rav Ashlag is sharing about Rav Yossi ben Kisma, who replied to a man who asked him to come to live in his town, for which he would pay him thousands and thousands of gold dinars. And Rav Yossi ben Kisma answered, "Even if you gave me all the silver and the gold and precious stones and jewels in the world, I would live nowhere but in the place of Torah." Which means it's so important. Rav Ashlag is explaining that free will of choosing your environments. It's not just like when we talk about a friend and we talk about a teacher, we're talking about certain people. This is the environment that we're choosing to be among people that can really lift us up. Let's say if we're talking about business, we want to be around people who has been successful in business, has been successful in their relationship, has been really been true friend, because we want to, as we are around this environment, our consciousness is growing, and our ability to connect more to who we are is also growing. This is why it's so important when we talk about friendship and when we talk about the unification among people. It's and we have to understand that every friendship I have with one person doesn't take away from the friendship I have with another person. So we nurture in each other, and we can look at one another and view this concept, and we need to really understand it over and over in our time. Why do we need to have a friend in our life? Because, you know, our eyes looking outside, our eyes do not look inside, which means we cannot see what really is the things that we need to change. You know that some of those workshops that we're sharing with you, especially when we reach in time, like when we're doing before Rosh Hashanah and looking inside, and one of the workshops is we asking you to go to a friend so he can give you 3 things about you that you need to change, and maybe 3 good things about you that you need to strengthen. Why? Because the other person, his eyes, he can look at you, and if he's a true friend, he can see the secret of your soul. He can see what's your potential, and even saying what is that you need to change will not feel so bad. It will feel just bad for our ego, but you will feel the compassion, you will feel the love that comes with him. And our choice to become their friend and the intention is to be willing to remove the me from our equation, and that you don't need him, but you're with him because you appreciate the knowledge, you appreciate the growth, you appreciate the process. And every time that you choose a friend, it's not because I'm depending on them, it's because I'm exciting from this nurturing, and this is what we wanted to understand from it. So just to recap a little bit of what we have mentioned so far, when we talk about Rav, עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר, I can show you right now in the slide this sentence, where buy yourself a master, have yourself a master and buy yourself a friend. When we talk about Rav in Hebrew, Rav is fight, okay? But it's fight, and it's also elevating. What does it mean? When we talk about true friend, is someone who helps you to fight your negativity, that you can elevate your potential. And all of this for what? Is to get closer to the light of the Creator. And in order for us to get closer to the light of the Creator, it has to be as a battle, as a fight to overcome our negativity. And what's the result of it? What's the result of all of this action? Is that you will go out of the doubts. Because it says, עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר וצא מהספק. So, create yourself a master, buy yourself a friend, and you shall get out of the doubt, because there's no space. You remember the atoms are connected to one another, there's no space. So if there's no space, there's no doubt. Okay? If we don't have doubt, we have no fears, we have no disease. This is how friendship is so important in our life, because when we talk about, again, we talk about buying, need a friend or need a teacher, actually, it's like, it talks about the teacher, it refers also to a path. So you need to choose, you need to choose a master, you need to choose your spiritual path to go on. You need to choose one spiritual path, and you follow through. And you follow through. And where is God really? Where is the light? Where does the light exist? The light exists in the person that looks for the Creator, the person that looks for the light. So when you see a person, it says the Zohar, when you see that person walk the talk, you see that he's taking an action in the path of the Creator and runs to transform, the light will be there. And this is where we want to connect. So if my relationship between me and the light, and this is what it is, I must have doubts. But why? Because I'm giving excuses to myself all day, right? We all have spiritual reasons, but most people think maybe God is in heaven and etc. But God is in our heart. God is in the heart of the person. So when we see a person that is full of this desire and compassion and love, we want to choose him to be our guide, right? So this is like one of the things of choosing a teacher, but a real teacher needs to be also a follower. So this is, we need to see the lineage of the connection for the teacher. It's not the person, it's really about what is in his heart and his connection to the lineage. And again, when we talk about the word chaver, it's all about the connection. So a friend is also the connection from me to him, connection through him to the light. And because he makes all the effort to stay in the path, and I want to have those type of friends that I have the path through them to the light of the Creator. This is what is a true friendship, and this is what does it mean true connection. And I'm reading here from the Rav Ashlag that you cannot buy the connection to the Creator directly with the light, but by connecting to this person, to a friend, or to the path, that's where going to be the light. So this is where the light is going to be. So it's so important for us to understand that true friendship is really removing space from our life, removing doubt, and bringing so much value into our life as people who really work on our consciousness and our growth and our spiritual growth. And I hope that God willing we'll be able really to have this type of relationship in our life, even with one person. And I wanted to do a short meditation with you that I will use the 72 names of God that I chose for this session today, and will show you shortly. It's the two combinations letters that I would like to share with you is Shin Aleph Hey and Aleph Vav Mem. Shin Aleph Hey relates to the unification of the souls. It's not just soulmates in level of romantic, it's the unification of the soul, the unification of the body and mind, and okay, it's connecting really one another together with Aleph Vav Mem. It's the bridge. It's having the bridge between one person to the other. It's the bridge between one person's heart to the other, connecting us as understanding that we're here to reveal this light. And if you can look at those combination letters, Shin Aleph A and Aleph Vav Mem, if you can sit comfortably, and if you wish to close your eyes, you're willing to you can close your eyes. If you just want to be, it's also okay. It's a different type of meditation, but the meditation here, it's the essence of intention. So we would like to attract this type of relationship into our life that will be in a form of friendship. So close your eyes and let's go to a place in that we feel peace, a place that we love, and bring to that place all those people, the 7 people that you wrote in the list that in the beginning of the session, and you consider them obviously as your friends. We all want to sit together in a circle, and let's bring to this circle all the information and the points that we have mentioned and talked about this evening. Look at one another. Try to feel the pain of each friend in the circle. If you can just scan the body of each person that sit in that circle and try to see where is the pain is hidden in each person's body. What is really bothering each one of them in the physical realm? And as you scan each friend and each body, they also scan you. And you feel this enormous amount of energy that's fulfilling you. And you want to see who they are. Who is this friend that you want and you can to do for them everything that you haven't done for anyone in the world? Who from your friend needs that you will do for him something that you don't think you have and that you don't think that you know, and never in your life you have ever done anything for someone else? Find this friend of yours and share with him now, with your lesson, with your challenge. And both of you here need to have a message and to receive a message of what is that you need to, each one of you, to do, to achieve or to learn together. Look at one of your friends and actually look at each one of the friends that you have in the circle and ask yourself, what is that I can do in order for me to earn the gift that you in my life? What is that I can do today to earn the gift that your friend in my life? And with all this thoughts and energy inside us, let's leave it within each one of us with no expectation. We didn't ask anything from no one. We're not dependent on what other people will give us. And we felt so much great. You can open your eyes if you close them. And we need to understand that even if we have a greater goal between us and our friend, it's still considered to be a job, right? And the beauty of friendship is that with all the list and the goals that we have, there's no feeling of it's too much or overwhelming. And this is the paradox. It's one of the things that we understand, that even a friendship in the highest level of format is that you don't need to work so hard for friendship. You reach in a level that is becoming the most powerful and comfortable place that you can reach in your life. Because when the curtains are going down, the light is present and you feel the fulfillment and you want to be part of it. So I wish really for all of us that in our life we do have friendship like this, and if we don't, we want to attract at least one friend into our life that will support us to identify more who we are and to remove the space out of our life, to help us to remove the space out of our life. I'm wishing all of us a wonderful time, and thank you for joining me today in my class.